All right, welcome to the Ultimate AI Business Challenge. We're putting 3 of the biggest AIs head to head to see if they can act as a real business coach and build a personalized, killer business plan completely from scratch. Let's see who comes out on top. It's the big question on everyone's mind, right? Can an algorithm really get into your head, understand your skills, your passions, even your finances, and then spit out a legit roadmap to success? Well, we're about to find out. Okay, so here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll set up the challenge. Then we'll dive into round 1, which is all about the questions they ask. After that, the main event, the business plans themselves. And finally, we'll bring out the final scorecard and crown our champion. All right, let's meet the players in this showdown. We've got the heavyweight champ, ChatGPT. We've got the powerhouse from Google, Gemini. And we have the impressive newcomer, DeepSeek. The setup was super simple. We gave each of them the exact same prompt. You are going to be my business coach. Ask me questions until you have enough information to help me build a business plan. That's it. The stage is set. And you know what? Right out of the gate, we saw 3 totally different personalities. Gemini came in super warm and fuzzy, saying it was excited to help. ChatGPT was just all business, straight to the point, no messing around. And DeepSeek was like the diligent student, repeating the instructions back to make sure it understood the assignment. So even before they started, you could feel their different styles. Okay, let's get into round 1, the interrogation. This is where it gets interesting because a business coach is only as good as the questions they ask, right? They've got to dig deep to figure out your goals, your skills, what you're working with. And wow, the difference here was like night and day. On one side, you've got ChatGPT, which came back with this, and I'm quoting here, crazy extensive list of questions, all broken down into 4 detailed phases. And on the other side, Gemini. It asked, and I am not kidding, literally 5 questions. Just a massive contrast in depth right from the jump. And when you look at ChatGPT's questions, you can see why it felt so different. It was asking about the lifestyle you want, what assets do you already have, how much cash are you ready to put in. It even asked about big, unsolved problems and how you could make money right now. This is the stuff a real seasoned business coach would ask. Now, DeepSeek, it took a really smart approach, kind of splitting the difference. Its questions were solid, broken into 7 sections, but it did one thing that was just brilliant. It asked, hey, are you familiar with business models? That one simple question changes everything. It makes the whole process way more accessible if you're a complete newbie who'd be scared off by a bunch of business jargon. All right, round 2. This is the main event, the pitch. After all the questions, all the prodding, what kind of actual business plans do these AI coaches cook up? So, ChatGPT came out swinging. Its plan was ambitious, and I mean really ambitious. It was a 2-part strategy. First, start with high-priced AI consulting to get cash flowing in immediately. Then, use that money to build scalable stuff like coaching programs and digital products for that sweet, long-term recurring revenue. It was a plan built for massive growth, with an eye on a multi-million-dollar exit. DeepSeek, though, went in a totally different direction. It didn't pitch a service business at all. Instead, it suggested building a SaaS company, a subscription-based platform. Think a one-stop shop for coaching and resources. It's a completely different mindset, focused on building a single, scalable product right from the start. But here's where DeepSeek really shined. It wasn't just some high-level idea. It was a step-by-step playbook. The whole plan was laid out in this super clear, month-by-month timeline. It told you exactly what to do and when to do it. It felt less like a concept and more like an instruction manual you could actually use. And check this out. This was an absolute masterstroke and a huge differentiator. DeepSeek included a backup plan. It basically said, hey, this might not work perfectly, and if you're not getting traction in 6 months, here's what you do. It suggested pivots like switching to a cheaper model or just focusing on digital products. That's not just coaching, that's real strategic thinking. So what about Gemini? Well, its plan had one really cool feature. It broke everything down into daily action steps. That makes things feel super manageable, right? The problem was, because its initial questions were so thin, it had to keep coming back for more info. So the final plan felt, well, a little fragmented. It was hard to see the big picture. Okay, so we've seen the interrogation, we've seen the pitch. Now it's time for the final scorecard. We're going to judge our 3 contenders on 6 key areas to see who is, once and for all, the best AI business coach. So let's break this down. You can see DeepSeek just crushed it in clear strategy, concise framework, and relevancy. That playbook structure really paid off. ChatGPT, on the other hand, scored super high on creative innovation and was by far the fastest, earning a perfect 10 for efficiency. But look at resource recommendations. DeepSeek was the only one that actually named specific tools to use, which gave it a huge leg up. Gemini, unfortunately, just couldn't keep up in the key areas. And when you tally it all up, you can see just how close this race was at the top. DeepSeek just squeaks out the victory with 52 points. ChatGPT is right on its heels with 50. Gemini, while it had some good ideas, comes in a distant third with 36. All right, after all that, after the questions, the plans, the scoring, it's time to officially name the winner of our AI Business Challenge. With an incredible score of 52 out of a possible 60, our champion really showed a fantastic balance of deep strategy, clear, actionable steps, and a user-friendly approach. And the winner is DeepSeek. Look, while ChatGPT's vision was faster and maybe a bit more ambitious, DeepSeek delivered a plan that felt like a real, honest-to-goodness playbook. It was relevant, beautifully structured, and even had a contingency plan. In this challenge, that made it the better business coach. So that brings us to the final question, and this one's for you. After seeing all this, which coach would you hire? Would you go with ChatGPT, the ambitious scaler, DeepSeek, the practical playbook provider, or Gemini, the daily taskmaster? The AI you choose could really shape your whole journey. What's your pick?